Welcome to another edition of Chasing the Checkers. It's the USSA Pro Stars Series opportunity to speak with some of the most unique personalities in ice oval racing. I'm Brett, and today I'm a little surprised by my guest, but man, am I excited. So joining the fight for the champ division this year is no other than number 84, Keith Wojo. Keith, how are you?
Great. How are you?
I'm really well. Really well. Here we are a couple days post-Christmas, and I catch something in the wind that says Wojo's going to go champ racing this year. And it was like, wow, that sounds like fun. How'd that come about?
Well, Troy Pierce asked me to help him with that 600 last year, the Formula 3 sled. And then I was going to be done again after that. And summer came along and he says, hey, how about if I build a champ? Would you like to drive it? And I said, sure. I guess the big thing is if I still have the ambition to get in shape.
It takes a lot, doesn't it? I mean, some people think this snowmobile racing thing's a piece of cake because it's only 5 laps or 15 laps, but that's nowhere near to the truth.
Well, when you're my age, it even takes a little longer, I think.
Well, I wasn't going to approach the age question, so we're just going to let that one go, okay? So if we approach the age question, tell us a little bit about your history in snowmobile racing. When did you get your start and how long you been racing?
Well, I raced in the early 90s. Troy Pierce built me a Formula 3 sled. And I raced, I think, 90, 91, 2, 3, 4 on Polaris. And then I went to Skidoo Formula 3. It was either 94 or 95. And I worked at Polaris and then I raced at Polaris. And then when I went to Skidoo, I retired from Polaris at the same time and started my horse training business at that time. And then that got so busy, I kind of retired from snowmobile racing. And I did go out 4 or 5 times after that for the Sioux with like Steve Houle, Brian Sturgeon. I've raced that with Troy. I went out for Jeremy Johnson, Chris Hortness when they got hurt. I ran their sleds. I think Chris Hortness was the last time I drove in 2003. And then I was done for like 12 years.
Wow. But you're back now. Was it the lure of the F500 class or something that brought you back? What brought you back to the race community?
Well, Greg Peterson approached me and wanted me to come and ride one of their sleds. And I did actually. I raced the first race I'd been back in probably 12 years in Devil's Lake. And that was Blaine Stevens's last race on an F500. So I got to race against him there. And that was my first time back.
So when you were back in the 90s, did you ever race Eagle River World Championship stuff or no?
I raced Eagle River Formula 3. I think every year I made the finals, fortunately, for 4 or 5 years. And I can't remember the years, but I raced Skidoo Champ when they came back, and I made the final roster. And I raced Jeremy Johnson's Artie Cat Champ, and I made the final go there.
Wow. So over all those years, what's your main philosophy when it comes to sled racing? What's your tip? What's your trick that makes you so competitive and so I guess competitive is the best word.
Well, I love snowmobile racing, and when Troy got me into it, and living here in the Wall Brother town, and David has always been my hero, Dave Wall. So when I started my horse training business, I just needed to get out, and I could hear Terry Wall testing every day at the lagoon, and it was always in the back of my mind that I wanted to do it again. And I don't know, it's just I'm pretty competitive at whatever I do. I guess I'm just kind of a freak that way.
Yeah. You know what? I think to be in this sled racing business, that's a good thing. So you've touched on it a little bit. For the people that don't know you, tell us a little bit about the horse community. I know you've got a whale of a rodeo that goes on out that way, and you're around horses all the time. Give me a little bit of your personal background on that.
Well, I've been training horses for close to 30 years. And 15 years ago, we started a rodeo business to go along with it. And now we put on, well, this year we had 3 out of the 18 rodeos go on. Otherwise, we sat idle all year, all summer. Yeah, we've trained horses. We do a lot of roping and barrel racing, and we start colts, and it's kind of I don't know, it's something fun too. It's a challenge. You take an animal and you train it to do something well.
Yeah, sure. Where's the number 84 come from for you?
Okay. When I raced 3-wheelers, my number was 80, and David Wall was 74. So when I went to snowmobiles, I picked 84.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah,
that's a good story. Yeah.
Yeah. So, and that's one of the things, like for young kids, for me, I love the sport, and I love to encourage kids to work at this and do it. And for somebody that has had the opportunity to go back and forth to do it over the years, I just love to help kids get into it, or show them that if you work hard, the possibilities are there. My life has been kind of a dream of getting into the snowmobile world, and then created my own job from there, and now getting back into the snowmobile racing again.
Yeah, I think that's fantastic. I think it's important for people to know too that don't really know you. You're not going to step into the champ field this year just on a whim or to be some sort of a media interest. You've got legitimate skills and a legitimate machine with you, and you've got a shot to win every week that we're racing.
Oh yeah, Troy Pierce is probably one of the top builders in the snowmobile business. He does that for a living right at Polaris, and for me, it's definitely out there to try to win and do good. But for me at my age, to pull up onto the track with that caliber of racers still at this age, it's just. I don't know. It's awesome to, these guys are the best in the world, and I'm going to get to go out there and play with them. Yeah,
that'll be great fun. When I was talking with some people today, I was clued in on something that said that you spent a ton of time on your hole shot.
I've, back in the day, I raced a lot with Steve Hoole too, and them guys, and traveled with Steve when I was at Polaris. And being a hole shot and Troy and them guys, I'll tell you a little secret. I've been blind in one eye my whole life.
No.
And I wasn't getting a very good start. And Troy Pierce says to me one day, he says, "You know what? You can't blink." And he says, "You need to stare at that flag." And, it's something I will train myself to stare at that flag. So when they wiggle, I'm out of there. And, sometimes, I can go by a flagman a lot of times, and they look at me and they're confused to say if I got them or if they're not sure what happened.
Yeah, that's actually a little bit of the story that I heard, is that you're so focused on the tip of the flag that when it moves, see ya.
Yeah, it's just something. It worked good back in the 90s, and it worked good in the F500, and it'll get me in the back row sometimes because people can't believe that you can do that.
Yeah.
When you live in this town and you have all these racers like David and Dermott and all these, and Troy, and it goes on, the list of people, you learn a lot. There's a lot of tricks in this town.
Yeah, that's true. I'm going to ask you a little bit of a different question. What's the best race you ever lost?
Alexandria, F500, me and Gady.
Oh.
Me and Jacob Gady went 13 laps, and somebody said we switched leads 15 times.
I saw that race. I was there. Yeah.
It was awesome. You know what? I think I won every race that year but one, and that was the best race I ever had. You know what? When you can go out and race with somebody and just race, and like that, I don't know what gets better. That's what it's all about. Win, lose, or draw. It's a competition, and when you're having that's just awesome fun.
Yeah, when there's mutual respect from drivers, and you're just putting equipment and driving skill against equipment and driving skill. It's great for the spectators. It's great for the drivers. It's great for the sport.
Oh, you bet. And you know what? And, anything we can do to get the spectators to come back and watch, and newcomers to come and stuff like that for this sport, I'm all about it.
Sounds great. As I've talked to the champ drivers, it becomes more and more clear it takes a lot of people to make the world go around and the wheels move for champ racing. So tell us a little bit about sponsors for you that have helped you over your career, and really who's stepping up this year to help you with this champ project.
Well, I know Polaris, Troy Pierce, he's building, TP Racing is building the sled and he owns it. And TJ Patrick, I know, is sponsoring him. I'm not really sure all the sponsors on his side of the deal. I actually don't. I go over there everyone. I was actually there tonight to pick up the hood so we could get it to the guy to get it fixed, so we could be on the testing this week.
Great.
I can't really tell you all of his sponsors.
Okay, that's fine. Let's have some fun with a few other questions here. Tell me which track you think you have the most laps on.
Strathcona.
Oh, okay. What track have you achieved the most top 3 finishes?
Alexandria.
Okay. The favorite sled you've ever driven?
I would have to say the first year at the Sioux, my old Formula 3 sled that I raced there in 1990 was a blast.
Okay, good. Do you remember your very first snowmobile race?
Yeah, it was in Ironwood and it was 32 below.
I live in Ironwood, right?
Yeah.
It takes a hardy bunch. Did you place in that race?
No.
No, bummer. Final fun question: steak or seafood?
Seafood.
No, interesting. I would have guessed you for a steak guy. But one of the other things we're trying to do, and you mentioned it a little bit, is trying to bring some tips to the next generation coming up. Some of the junior sprinters, some of the kids that are running the WK, RSA programs, those kind of things. What do you think kids of the next generation of racers need to think about or concentrate on or look at that maybe they're overlooking right now?
Well, I think a big thing that people need to get out there to these kids and stuff is really try to get in top shape, because you can take a lot of the mechanical stuff away if you're in really, really good shape.
Interesting. Okay. One other follow-up question. I should have asked earlier, but I wanted to do this. So when you're at the track, are you doing a lot of tuning of your own, or is Troy doing most of your work, or what's your crew going to look like on a weekend?
Well, Troy will do most of the tuning, and him and Callie, my daughter. When I raced my 500 the last few years, it was after Ben Reese built the sled. Me and her maintained it all year. Okay,
good. I wish you a ton of luck, Wojo. I just think this is going to be fun. I can see you on the line, and I can see you doing well. I just think this is a great thing for the sport, and I think you're going to bring a lot of interest to it. And I'm excited. I truly am. I just want you to know that.
Well, thanks. And you know what? I just hope I make the final roster, and we'll do the best we can do.
Yep, that's it. You know what? We're going to go there with a smile on our face and try and have some fun and entertain some people and see what happens with the sport. So, last thing, Snickers or Reese's Peanut Butter Cup?
Both of them are my favorite. Reese's.
Nice. See, you and I are going to get along just fine. All right. Thanks, Keith. Good luck. Have a great night.
Thank you very much. Have a great day.
All right.